known, Lon Pelton, and related. We're not exactly sure how yet to Willis Pelton, but we're from Windsor, Connecticut, and we've been collecting the Pelton paintings since somewhere in the 70s, and really got into it, and this is the result of it. And a lot of these paintings, this particular painting right here, this is a frame that my father made. It's a driftwood board, and he cut it. Of course, the edges all show, but this was his idea of framing. And Pelton did a lot of paintings, and only did 2 we know of with people other than Indians. And we have one with a person over there, and then there's one in a logging camp upstairs, which was done, and we know all about the history of that. And it was done just up the street here a ways. A Carl Goodwin lived there, and his parents rented a house to him, or boarded him, and he painted that particular one right from this area. And it's one of the only ones known with a man in it, other than these, like I say, these Indians. And the other thing he did, of course, was this great big moon. All these moons, a lot. We have on the other side a lot of moons. And other than that, rarely you'll find an animal, and this is an owl sitting on the limb. And there's a couple of those with an owl, but not much else as far as animals or people or anything of that nature. He just took a landscape.
And typically it's a New England landscape?
Typically pretty much Maine, right up in this area.
In central Maine, yeah.
Mostly in this area is where they came, where he painted. And my father would know, and some of these paintings on the back, we've got a sticker. My father might have researched this one, and he would say that's Mount something or other. And I'm not sure if this one even has it on the back, but we can look real quick. No, it's not stated. Not stated. But some of these underneath here, it's stated where they were done, because my parents did a lot of research on them too. My parents and I both collected these.
And how many do you have in your collection about?
Well, we have some at home still, so there's probably 170 of them total.
Wow.
68 or 70, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And how were you able to collect them all?
Oh Lord, we've found them in 3 different states in antique shops. We found a Pelton in Connecticut who had collected some. My parents found, because my parents had a place in Grand Lake Stream, Maine, so they found a lot of them up there as well, through antique shops, through people. A gentleman by the name of Carl Goodwin, who lived here in town, was an FAA inspector at Bradley Field, and he's the one that actually recognized a painting that I had, my first one. That's how it all got started. And Carl Goodwin knew all about Pelton, and so he got me inspired to do this.
Wow.
And
what's the most recent finding that you've had of a painting? Because I can imagine that kind of becomes an endeavor in itself of looking for them.
In an antique shop on the way from Bath out to this peninsula, I can't think of the name of it. We found it in an antique shop there, just driving through. But anytime we see an antique, we stop.
Yep.
Antique shop, we stop. And we look first for Peltons.
Yeah.
Anywhere on earth.
Right.
Look. And that was probably 5-7 years ago.
Yep.
The latest one we found. And the very first one that we got was this one right here. And it was a lawyer friend of mine in Windsor who bought it at an auction. And he brought it home and he said to me, "Pelton, you're buying this." So I bought it, and then met the FAA inspector at Bradley Field and showed to him, oh yes, that's Willis Pelton.
Yeah.
And that's how the collection started, just because
Wow.
a lawyer decided I ought to own this.
Right. Having
I'm
the same
not
last
sure if he
name.
doubled the price either, but I think he may have.
Do you know? Can I ask what you paid for it?
Oh boy, I don't remember.
Yeah. That's all right.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
My wife wouldn't either. No,
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Wasn't too much, I don't think.
Yeah. And would you ever sell one? Or no?
No, we just love this collection.
Yeah.
We're going to have this. This show is going to happen again in Windsor also in
Cool.
the near future.
Yep.
We have an art center down there, and there's a space in between two shows, so we're going to show it again.
Cool. Very cool.
It's been a lot of fun collecting it. My father's done. See, these are just pieces of molding that he framed with. Used driftwood, and then some of the nicer pieces we went out and had some nice
Professional.
burl. That's a veneer, but these are real nice frames. That painting belongs in a nice frame.
Right.
And he had a style with his water. Now, you see this waterfall?
Mm-hmm.
See how it's nice and straight across there? Now come and look at this waterfall. See the arch in that waterfall?
Yeah.
That cannot happen.
Right. Now, what would lead him to make a creative choice
who knows?
like that?
That's artists.
Right.
What do they call it? Artists.
I guess taking a creative liberty.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Right, but see, water has to be flat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there would have been rocks there, and then a little bit of water in the center. And the water could be very, very deep in the center, but it would still be flat.
Right.
So this is artistic license.
Yes,
That's
there you
what
go.
the word is
Yeah.
we're looking for. And some of it has a bit of Oriental look to it too.
Yeah,
You know?
I could see maybe in this one here.
Yeah, and this one here, this is very, very similar to an Oriental type tree that would have been done in the Orient itself.
Do you think he was looking at any particular artist and getting influence from their style, or?
Well, he did collaborate, and I'll show you one here.
Okay.
He had and I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he did some collaboration, and we wonder if this might have been, because this was with, I bought this from a Pelton who knew quite a lot about him, and he told me at the time that he felt that was something that was done with someone else. But we don't know. The board is different, it's thicker.
This one here.
Oh yes, it's totally different material than all the rest of these. So that.
Have you ever come across a painting that you maybe thought was done by Pelton that later you second guessed yourself, or do you have any way of authenticating them?
No, because all the ones that we have that are unsigned were all together in a collection, and the only way we can authenticate them is by just looking at his style, and you can tell that it's got to be a Pelton.
Yep.
But there are some that are signed, and there's one upstairs that's signed Willis Pelton, and we've never seen one signed Willis. It's always W. Pelton or Pelton alone. So whether that was done with, and it's different too. It's different than all the rest here. So it might have been done as a collaboration with this other gentleman he collaborated with. It's been said that he collaborated with another artist whose name was Fred Kerrigan. And there's a possibility that this might have been something he did with Kerrigan. And the one upstairs that is signed Willis Pelton could be a collaboration, because it is different.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder maybe if that was something that he did early on, if he started signing them Willis and then eventually got to just...
But it looks like it's it's not an early painting.
Yeah.
Because this is one here. Let me show you this one. This one right here.
Where's the one that's written Willis?
Right here. That's upstairs.
It's upstairs.
This one here, this is an idea of the year that it must have been painted that year, December 12th or earlier. So this is 1937, and so this is sort of his style in 37, which is much plainer, not as elaborate. So these may be later. We don't know any of that, but I'm just saying that we happen to know that this is at least 1937.
And that will happen a lot to artists whose health is deteriorating as their work becomes much more simple because they either physically or mentally can't do what they used to do. So that's kind of...
Because he passed away in 55, so 37 to 55, he was still painting in 50, well, whatever the years, 52, 55, something like that.
And I was talking to one of the women from the historical. There's sort of I thought it was sort of interesting the way he died. He was 91 years old.
Leaving a church, got hit by a car, then run over by a truck.
That's sort of a sad way to go, I guess.
But quick.
But quick, and at that age, I mean...
That's right.
I guess you sort of have to go sometime, so... And what was he doing crossing the road at night? Nobody knows, yeah.
He was leaving a church, that's all they know.
Yep.
And it was too bad, but... we were talking earlier, he may have paintings out there too. There may be lots of paintings out. If you find out where he went to, you might go out and find paintings out there as well.
Yeah.
And it might be a totally different look than this.
Yeah.
Or he may have done from mind this as well, remembering how these looked, and no one knows.
Yeah.
I suppose it's worth a trip out there. We ought to go out there since we've done so much now. We ought to go out there and see if we can find it.
Yeah. And where is that?
In Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan.
And they know the town. I don't know it myself.
Huh, interesting.
I guess that's something, Jane, we should think about doing. Go find out some more about him.
Yeah, and you have to wonder how much, what his sort of way of keeping his own paintings were, and maybe ones that he didn't like if he destroyed them himself, because that's another thing artists will do.
Like his main goal in life here was to paint and barter, and buy rooming and buy food and buy bicycle tires and whatever he needed, and he rode around on his bicycle with these under his arm. And there's people that we've met that know that he did that, and there was a gentleman I met when I brought these up who he was actually at a show where he was painting and painting a little on this one, go to that one, and he was this man was only 14 or 15 years old, but he remembers this.
Wow.
My name is Barbara Pelton. I was Barbara Pratt.
Okay.
Yeah. And my mother's name was Erna Pratt.
And where did you live?
In Moscow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's when he used to come and stay.
He being Willis Pelton.
Yes.
Would come to your house in Moscow.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody's taking pictures now.
You want to tell a little bit about what that was like?
Well, the first time he came, he was on his bicycle, and he came in, it was supper time. We were about ready to sit down to eat, and my mother said, "Would you like to sit down and have supper with us?" And yes.
Wow.
And he ate there with us, with 5 of us kids and my mother and father. And then afterwards they visited a while. Then he said, I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight. So my mother says, well, I got a couch right in that next room. I can make it up for you if you want to sleep here tonight. And he says, good, that will be good. And so she did. And then he come at least 5 more years.
I was wondering if he came back and kept up the relationship.
Yeah, he did. And every year before he left, he'd give my mother a picture that he had painted. And I've been trying to find them. I can remember seeing her. She had them hanging in the living room on the wall and everything. And I had 3 younger brothers and a sister. And my sister is gone now, and I got 2 brothers left, but they were real young. And my youngest one called me, and he recognized the name though.
Yeah.
And he says, "Isn't that the one that used to come to the house?" And I said, "Yes." And then I asked him if he knew who in the family got all those pictures, and he don't know. We can't track them down. Yeah.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah. Well, that's why when I see the name Pelton on top of the paper, I said to my husband, "I know him." And he says, "What do you mean you know him?" So I was telling him what took place. And I said, "I'm going to go down and see if there's any members from the family there. I'd like to talk with them."
Yep. Wow.
So,
And did you drive down today from Moscow, or?
oh no, I live here in Madison
Yep.
now.
Cool.
I've been here for quite a few years.
Yeah, yep.
66 years I've
Okay.
been married.
Okay.
Yeah. So my husband was, I guess he thought I was crazy at first that I said I knew him.
And boy, did you prove him wrong.
Yeah. That's
right.
all I can tell you.
Because it's always like this, always has the 2 windows, has a
Yeah.
little door over here. So you kind of think, well, that's really someplace.
How about the house that's in front of the lake and only the gable's showing? Have
Yeah,
you seen that? Oh, yeah, right there. Look at that one now.
yeah.
If that isn't, either it's got to be behind a dam, or it's just a
Well, pretty darn.
a fable.
Oh, and that's not a canoe.
No, that's a boat, and that's a person, and that's
That's
one of
right.
the only
That's
other
one of the
ones
only
that has a
ones that I've
person.
seen,
And
yeah.
he's
Other than the
flycasting.
one upstairs.
I think that's maybe high tide.
It's like,
But you see how and of course, it's kind of similar there. The snow is as high there as the water
well,
is
that's it.
here.
For a second, the way the angle, I was looking at this, and I thought, behind the dam, I'm not sure. But I was thinking about the snow. Yeah, no, there you are. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
see how could water be that high
Third one,
Right.
and a house be there unless that's behind the dam? Water can't do that. And all these other ones are flat across, but that's poetic license, so we're not even realizing the water can't do that. It has to be flat.
Most of it is running off the road.
Yes. If it's in a V, it'll still be, if it's in a V like that, it'll still be,
That's why the water.
right, it'll be flat wherever that water keeps it level at.
Well, it's on level when it's frozen.
Oh, okay, but that's not, well, no, that couldn't be frozen because the trees are still got leaves. But, yeah,
The water.
with one tire track.
The
ones
Doris has, I'm sure.
There's
He was out there.
a cousin of mine died some years ago, older than me, and he's a little steamboat. Path that goes up here, and a woman and a child walking on it, and this and clouds. I mean, you almost wondered, like, did it took me a while to get this job.
You operate a computer? You operate a computer?
Yes, I'm on my social.
Right.
Not me. That mill board, does that start out as a farm? Farm, it was blue and, right. So come here, let me show you one here. This is a real good example of this board. When you bought this off the mill,
The mountain type, you've seen that and a lot of the water, like this would be moving that water.
Now, how did you come by them? Are you related?
Not related, no. They were in my husband's family, and I'm not sure. They were my family. Okay, I'm Doris Steen. I live in Madison. I acquired these paintings through my husband. they were his father's, and the one with the bridge is in Highland Plantation, and it was behind the Highland store and another building, I forget what it was, but the bridge was gone at some point after that, but right at that time it was right in back of the store. It was a little store,
And there, Lon, did you say that there are paintings that exist from this same location without the bridge, or was
Oh
that?
yes, well, what we feel, because you match them up, we've matched them up in there, and yes, the land's exactly the same, but the bridge is gone. And even the strokes are the same.
Yeah.
So it's got to have been the same.
yeah.
Now, this scene here, there has to be at least about 5 that I've seen here today, of this one in the corner, that are all from this perspective. Do you know the significance of that location?
No, no, but when they're done, my mother and father researched, when they were collecting, they researched what that mountain was. And there's on the backs of some of them, I've got stickers that says where this area is.
That's Bigelow Mountain, I believe, but I'm not sure where Bigelow Mountain is.
And I think that's written on one of my mother's.
Could be.
There's Little Bigelow and Big Bigelow, which would make sense that there's 2 peaks here.
Right, yeah, that's right.
That's good, and I'm gonna, when we pack up, I'm gonna look at the back of all of them and find and see, because I know that there are mountains that are stated on there that my parents knew where they were. Because they did a lot of research on the ones that they collected. Because my mother's family is from Portland. So, and they had a place at Grand Lake Stream, Maine. So they got their collection up farther here than ours.
Oh, right.
And did you say that you were given your husband was given these by a Pelton? By somebody in the Pelton family?
I'm not sure. No, he wasn't, but his father had acquired them from somewhere, and I'm not sure if it was through a Pelton.
Yeah, interesting.
They were, his father passed away in 1966.
Wow, so they've been in the family a while.
1974,
Yeah.
he was 66.
Yeah. So that they've been in the family for quite a while.
A long time, yeah. They've been in the family ever since I was around.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Paint her house.
And how did he carry the pails of paint?
Tell me, probably on the handlebar.
I imagine it was all ordered at someone's house, no doubt it was there and kept it.
Well, that was maybe just one trip to the house to bring all of that, and then maybe he couldn't paint the house in one day, so he would just travel back. But still, he was kind of right.
Never seen
This gentleman got to. Did you, what I believe, he used the basic colors and made his own colors from it.
Yes.
So he carried, how many basic colors are there? 5?
3.
I think it's 3. Told me about that. His daughter's new apartment. And also a son that was.
My husband has been in a few car accidents,
I've heard of it.
he said there was a big mountain. Boston was a big. Yes. He said, well, you know, the old read the bakeries in Boston. Somebody else was driving and they early in the morning to go to Boston.
Yes, I think there was a long drive. The camping. I wonder, isn't that something?